Feroz, and welcome to all our participants. Our program Prerna is actually the brainchild of Dr. Arti Gupta, who is the Secretary General of the Indian Menopause Society. And this is our ninth episode. And what I find is that we are growing and our fan base is growing. People are loving these programs. We are very happy because they take quite a bit of an effort. So we will proceed and let me invite Dr. Arti to introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Nirja. Thank you so much. I am really happy to be with this ninth session of the Prerna. And now I think our participants and all the people who are listening this program are getting some benefit from this program. So thank you so much for being with us. And now I would like to introduce Dr. Meeta. I think it's a very small thing to introduce Dr. Gupta. She is very respected, very renowned personality in our field and also academically in all of us, all the obstetrician and gynecologists and in the Menopause Society. And she's having very keen interest in the academics, and so many adjectives are very less to define her capabilities. Dr. Meeta is Director Consultant of OBGY, Menopause and Tanveer Hospital, Hyderabad. Her area of interest are obstetrics, menopause, postmenopausal osteoporosis, PCOS, and gynae ultrasonography. Her affiliations are: she is founder chair in the Menopause Society Registry 2021 and 31, Editor General of Midlife Health, Chair Clinical Practice Guidelines of Menopause, Chair Clinical Practice Guidelines of Postmenopausal osteoporosis, and so many. Thank you, Dr. Meeta. Thank you with us for such a different topic. And we will like to have all your inputs in this webinar. Thank you. Welcome, you, ma'am.
A very good morning, everyone. And thank you, Arti, for your perception of me. And I think that's what actually defines my perception in connection with the Menopause Society. And, I've been a past president for more than 11 years, but this society keeps, it keeps calling me back again and again. And I thank Nirja, Shobha, for giving me the opportunity and also giving me the freedom to choose the topic that I wanted. Nirja was very keen on me speaking about Ikigai, but since I had done, so this is the second talk, I think motivational talk or whatever you put it as, which I'm giving for the society. Perspective defines life. And I have a disclosure earlier on when I had given this talk on Ikigai, I had said, this is not a motivational talk. But today I can say, yes, it is a motivational talk. And this is my perspective of, what this talk should be around. And I think each one of us is as individual as that thumbprint which I've put in over there. And so the perspectives will be different, but then, as we go along, I'll make you understand that how we can have a common perspective in spite of the diversity of our minds. So this, and one of the, the happiness that I had got when I presented this earlier, I've taken a couple of slides from my earlier presentation, because I had learned how to draw this Japanese script, Ikigai. So the upper one, the Japanese script means life, and the lower script means to be worthwhile. And the pictures all are over here. And this was done in 2016. And at the end of the presentation, you will find that the logo therapy of Ikigai, the 10 therapies of Ikigai, actually are very similar to the one which we had promoted in 2012. And so while I was making this presentation, it was such a sheer happiness to understand that we had made this poster, which I'll be showing it to you, with a Japanese lady and the 10 things which we had done even before the book was out. So this is what, makes life really interesting and challenging. Now, I actually liken this slide to, our entire world, the world we are living in, to the sea. So the God has made this entire process, and in the ship, if you make a ship, you don't make a ship so that it's at the shore. You make it's useful only when it is on the water. Similarly, God has made you, and this is the entire world. So he has given you, each one of us, different forms of living. So you can, not have anything, but you still swim across. You have the ability to swim across. You may be endowed with a motorboat, or you may be endowed with a beautiful ship like Titanic, or no, I wouldn't say Titanic, something better. So whatever it is, but you will know how to maneuver this life with whatever you have. So that is what you're supposed to do in this life. You have to learn how to maneuver yourself, enjoy the beauty of the sea, enjoy the beauty of things that's around. So now I want all of you all to look at this slide and, really be truthful about yourself as to which person you're going to be. Now you see a honeybee hovering around you. What would your reaction be? Now, say this is a kind of a situation. Would you be like this pretty young lady over here who's thinking, oh, this bee is going to give me some nice honey? And you see she's all full of smiles. Her face is pink. She is lively. And here you have this, I'm not gender biased, but this was a cartoon. And here you have a male, thinking now this bee is going to sting me. And, so all the negative energy, the negative thoughts. So you see, there are no smileys and he's all scared. So situations in life are like that. You can just decide what and how you're going to think about it. Either you convert it into a honey or you convert it into a fear in your mind. So this is what a perspective is. I'm going to define a little bit on what a perspective is. It's actually an unsung hero in psychology. In all the motivational talks, people really don't talk about a perspective. They talk about the positive things. So I thought this is really, really interesting, because perspective means you're looking through. Actually, literally, it's a Latin word, which means you're looking through a lens, and then you're looking through your lens, your mind, the lens of your eye, which is connected to your brain, and then you view everything according to what you're perceiving. But then each person's perspective is shaped very unconsciously. How? Because of your life experiences, the way you have been brought up, your socioeconomic status, your education level, your cultural background, your spirituality, and whatever you have actually received from different people in your life. You may be meeting different people in your life, and everything really shapes up your personality. But finally, the impact would be it impacts your life. So it depends on you as to how you process this different information that you're getting from different areas of your life, and how you communicate this, and how you engage with people, and that is your choice. So perception is all about your choice, and it is very, very, very powerful. As you can see, when you look through this lens of your eyes and you communicate to your brain, and the actions that come out of it is what we receive is exactly what we perceive. So it's a very, very powerful statement if you go into it. See, I've not put in the brick bats, I've just put in the gift over there. So the gift, whatever you are getting every single day when you get up in the morning, is what we perceive. So what we think and what we want to do and what our thoughts are is exactly what you get. So today morning, I thought, oh, today is going to be a fantastic day. And see, I have my close friends and I see nice smiles over here. And that is a gift I'm receiving today. But if I got up in the morning and I said, oh, today is going to be a very taxing, horrible day, my day is gone. I'm going to get just what my thought process is. So that is the power of perspective. So in a moment you change your perspective is the moment you rewrite the chemistry of the body. So I bring back that same slide. So this is perception and reality. Having said that, you cannot live in a dream world, isn't it? World is a reality. It's not a dream world. You just can't think and perceive some things and overlook the hard facts of life, overlook the positive, overlook the negatives. So there is always a black and white. There is sun, there is moon, there is light, there is darkness, and there is, I don't know, the devil and the God. So whatever, but there's always two sides of the coin. So we have to understand how to navigate through them. And so it is very, very important. So there's another powerful word that I thought is very important to talk about is seeing and looking. So when you're looking, you're just looking at things. But when you're seeing beyond that, just like the painting which Nirja just said. If I had just looked at the painting, I wouldn't find out where the link was. But when she showed it to me, I started seeing it. Then I perceive it. Then I understand it. So that's how our mind has to work. So we need to have a wisdom. Most of us acquire knowledge, different types of knowledge. But you need the intelligence and you need the wisdom to put all those dots together. And that becomes your thoughts and your perception. So I found my honey in this menopausal world and I really thank all these people who have shaped up my life over a period of years. And so your thoughts, most powerful. I think one of the most powerful things that God has given us and made us very, very different as a human being are the thoughts. Because you have to really watch your thoughts because they become words. And this statement, and this is written by, I forget the person, but this has been kind of one of my favorite quotes. They become action, and finally your actions, when you do it on a continuous basis, becomes your habits. And these habits shape your character. But it's not just character, it shapes your destiny. As a man thinks, so he is. So we have to learn to live in this world of imperfections, but we are the ones who are going to, charter our destiny. So looking at it at perception, looking at it in two different levels. One is the macro level, how perception can actually change history and how what future has got in hold for us. I'm going to talk a little bit on this. So when you're talking about history, there has been history with tyranny, with terrorism, and I can think of, so many are there, but I thought of Hitler, who wanted to wipe out the Jews, and you see what happened in the history, and we still remember the Holocaust. We still remember the effects of that particular episode in history. Similarly, when you look at the Indo-Pakistan divide, and supposing the India and Pakistan were one, can you imagine the strength we would be in? But things have changed. Similarly, the upsurgency of Palestine, again, something which we wouldn't definitely not want. But then you also have in the history, you have saintliness, you have compassion, you have empathy. You have our saints like Kabir, like Guru Nanak, who always believed in oneness. And they, actually at the end of his life, Guru Nanak's very interesting story was that he tried to see that, the Hindus wanted to cremate him and the Muslims wanted to bury him. And he just disappeared. And he said that these are really not the things that you have to fight for. It's not about what you want to do. It's more about spirituality and oneness of the world, oneness of the universe. So these are the messages the seers have given us, but somewhere all of us lose track of that. So I think it's very, very important that this compassion and empathy has to be maintained. Now coming to something, and again, history, it's not just about this, but when you look at the WHI and science, and when you look at the menopausal world, perception. So the perception of the WHI, when it was released without thinking, what happened? 10 to 12 years, women who really needed hormone therapy were deprived of it. And I believe there have been so many extra fractures, so many extra cardiac problems, and the quality of life deteriorated. 10 years down the lane, the perception changed, and now things are very, very different. So when you look at the future, artificial intelligence is coming in a big way, but then there are good things to it. There are the other side effects. So we have to balance it. I believe there is a bandage which is coming in, which has got a camera for the chronic wounds. It takes the pictures, it understands the temperature, the pH, the oxygen, goes on to the computer algorithms, and it decides what this wound needs so that there is quick healing and it delivers the medication directly. And so this is the future of artificial intelligence. And now you have recently, there was news that there is this embryo without the use of gametes, which the Israeli scientists have created from the stem cells of the skin. But can you imagine, it's perfectly all right if this is going to be used as a scientific experiment to understand what different medications can do or what infections can do in the lab. But supposing this embryo is on sale for people who want to have a child without the gametes, can you imagine the future? So I leave this thought to you to decide, and that's your perspective, whether it's going to be good or bad for us. So now coming to the micro level. So this is at a personal level, how your brain is going to actually shape you. I'm going to talk a little bit about, each individual and thoda sa gyan on personal development. Probably this is a positive thinking that we're going to promote. So you have your life course, and this is from the book Ikigai. This I have drawn. You start from the bedroom and then you come back to the bedroom, you go around the world. And what the Ikigai says is, whenever you are living, it's important that you understand your strength, understand your passion, understand what you're paid for because you have to make a living, but also understand that the world needs you. Each one of us has a mission. Each one of us contributes. So you put all of them together to find your ikigai so that you're happy and the world is happy. This reminds me of this song by John Lennon, which is so beautiful and one of my favorite songs. That is so. Now, the part of perspective is when I change, the whole world changes. That means the way you look at things. If you change your mind to any particular happening in your life, only then the world changes. So you don't complain. So the power of perspective, it is a fine distinction, looking at things and seeing things, like I said, and the choice is yours and yours alone. And that makes the difference. But here again, a word of caution, it's not just your mind, but it's also your heart. Because unless the heart is involved along with the brain and they work together, you cannot be empathetic, you cannot be compassionate, then you become self-centered if you're only looking at your brain. So you have to have a connect with both of them. So that is how a human versus robot, emotion, empathy, and ethics, only we can think about. Do you think the artificial intelligence, the wound that I was talking about, is even bothered about the pain that person would be suffering when you applied that bandage? No. It's only the doctor, when you're doing the dressing, you realize the pain that is happening. But that chip and the camera will not understand, the computer is not going to understand the bandage, what it is doing. But of course, the results are better. So emotion, empathy, and ethics. This is what we have to teach our children. This is what the world needs. And this is what we are going away in this digital media. Very, very important. So how to change this perspective? First of all, you identify in your own self what is really affecting your progress. When I say progress, it doesn't mean success and fame. It means your own evolvement. What is deterring you from being happy, or what is deterring you? What is bothering you in your mind? What is making you weak? What is making you fearful? Then examine your own beliefs. Examine what you need to change and what you don't need to change. Pen down your thoughts. Always pen down your thoughts. And one friend of mine, I've learned from her, at every given situation, she'll write down all the positives, she'll write down all the negatives, non-judgmental, sits and thinks about it, and then, decides what you have to take. I think a wonderful way of leading your life. So take action, and you can always choose to learn from those who have a perspective that you want to follow. Be a learner at any age, and you can always learn from your children. And I keep doing that every time. And it surprises me that sometimes you learn so much from your children and you think you're teaching them, even your grandchildren for that matter. So another thing, stop complaining. No room for complaints at any given situation. So this, I have some friends, like, I know this wonderful couple who are in their 80s. Now, this man is so evolved. He is happy at any given situation. He suffers from angina at rest. Even then, he's happy. But then you have his wife, who's a complaint box all the time. So what happens between the two of them? She has everything in the world, but she's always complaining. So she's always unhappy and she's on antidepressant. And here, a person who cannot even move, even a little movement causes chest pain. He says, I have the best life. Everybody is so nice. And his mind frame is so strong. And that is what is about, your own thoughts. So acceptance is very, very important of whatever you are. Challenges will be there. You have to find how you're going to navigate them. So any experiences. So we never say that, this particular episode, oh, I regret that. Don't use that word. It's only experience and lessons. You may have somebody may have had a bad marriage. That's fine. That's an experience you have learned from, but you have to evolve. You have to get better. You have to do something more. But always take ownership of your decision with whatever it is, whether it is right or wrong. You must have taken a right decision. You must have taken a wrong decision, but it's you. Don't blame it on others that somebody has done it for you because you were in that particular situation. You didn't have a choice. No, don't get into that. You have to take your own decisions and always remove those destructive emotions. Very nice book by Dalai Lama. I would like you to read that. Destructive emotions, convert it with positive thoughts. The minute you do that, then you become like a bacteria. Of course, you're looking at your favorable environment, like this menopause society, this family that we call, and you grow. You grow individually, you grow mentally, you grow, in your thoughts and your happiness. So attitude is something that we express, and that comes from your thoughts. But that's a very thin line when you're really living in this world. You don't have to be judgmental because you have never been in the shoes. If you have been in somebody's shoe, not for 30 seconds, but for a longer time, only then you understand what that person is undergoing, and then you stop being judgmental. Then you understand what that other person does. So before you judge people, think about this and how you react. Then your reaction comes in versus anger. You may be really angry at some situation, but then you try to understand the situation, and then that's how I think you evolve. Then you also have self-respect versus ego, introspection versus analysis. So stop analyzing life. I get people analyzing life all the time. You did this, then you did this, then you did this, no, you introspect. Introspect. So again, you're not being judgmental. And it's always better to sit and, talk to each other rather than order things about. Very, very important is attachment and detachment. So you're going to live in this world, but you're still detached. I have this excellent friend of mine, and even Guru Gobind Singh Ji in the last, there's a very beautiful his couplet which says "Mitra pyare no," and it goes like that. And in the last phase of his life, where he's lost his kingdom, his wife, his children, everything, he says the only thing that I have is God, and this God can be in any form. That's your thoughts. That is God. So you have to be detached and also attached because you're living in this world. So do things not under pressure, but by your choice, then you're going to be happy. And also have faith. So this is a very interesting story about this deer. This pregnant deer was actually about to give birth to the fawn. And what happened? She chose a beautiful green grass next to this lovely river. And what happened? There was this lightning. The clouds were there, lightning was there. It suddenly became dark. And then she found in that lightning one hunter watching her with the bow aimed at her. And the other side, there was this hungry lion waiting to pounce on her. What did she do? She just closed her mind to everything. She just concentrated on giving birth to their fawn, and a miracle happened. The clouds, the lightning struck the hunter, and what happened? The bow went and hit the lion, and suddenly the rain started, and then she delivered this beautiful fawn. That was because of her positive thoughts. In spite of the danger around you, in spite of all that negative energy around you, if you're able to have faith in your thoughts, then miracles always happen. And I think we do it, we notice it day in and day out in our practice. Some situations where only miracle and not us as doctors, we help our patients. So God is the designer. Whether you are an atheist or not an atheist, I think all of us believe that there is some power, something around us, which is beyond us. And I think that's what is your thought. That is what is God. That is what is driving you. So it's nothing about religion. It's nothing about spirituality also, I think. It's just your thought process and how to look at it. There's no science in it. It's only your faith. And so you have to develop your source of happiness. So I just put this slide in this barren land, at the autumn of your life. You have to understand your limitations also, and you have to find your calling. So for me, my calling now is my DEXA and my ultrasound, which I really enjoy doing. And you have to find your source of happiness. And again, that's your thought. Here I put up this lovely picture. You see this old lady putting up the Tiranga and see the entire situation. So the story goes that they have 7 children, but all of them have left. All of them have gone on their way. They have left them in the village and they're all in the city. But that doesn't deter them. They are happy. So alone is not lonely. And then they're still living life. So alone is not lonely when I say is your inner self and your outer self. So how you can internalize yourself. You're not affected by the outside world. So you can be alone in the entire, in a big crowd. When you say alone, it doesn't mean in a quiet, small place you're sitting there and meditating. For me, I can be alone anywhere in the world. There'll be 100 people sitting around and I can suddenly go off into some kind of a trance. So that is what is the beauty of being with yourself and being happy, being alone with yourself. So learn to be that. And very, very important, I think, this is care about what other people think and you will be a prisoner. And I picked up this lovely photograph. You see how this man is looking back at this fellow who's peering at him. Don't bother as to what people think about you. You just give them back that same kind of an expression what this man is giving. Oh, don't bother about me. I'm quite fine. I am fantastic. So you don't have to bother as to what I do or what I don't do. And I don't care as long I know my intent is. So I think move away from what people are thinking and do what you feel is good and the best. Forgive. Forgiveness, you're not healing the other person when you're forgiving. It's you who you're healing yourself when you forgive. So intelligent people actually ignore people who are, yeah, I can see the yellow. So I'm going to, skip the slides. Of course, you need to be there for others, because for it's you can't be centralized, like I've already said. You have to work also towards the humanity, and that's very, very important. And appreciate. So this was an image, a photograph taken by an Iraqi artist in an orphanage. This little girl has never seen a mother, so she drew a mom and fell asleep with her. So appreciate what you had before it is taken away from you, and then it's too late. Appreciate, be grateful. It's not only be grateful, but be graceful. When you say graceful, it means in spite of things not being exactly how you are, then you have to be great, and you have to turn out to be a human who can be trusted, not just somebody who can be loved. And that speaks volumes. And this is what is there in my chamber, and I strongly believe in it. And this was what I talked about, the 10 commandments that we had put up as a poster and distributed amongst our people in 2000, amongst the IMS members in 2012. So your perspective and my perspective. But what really matters in the intent. So if our intent is good, if our intent is fervent, I think we can have a peaceful macro and micro environment. Thank you so much. And I enjoyed presenting this. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this motivational talk.
Thank you, Meeta. That was really lovely. And for me, the take home is that the reality is different for different people.
True.
But the reality is the same. It is the same reality, but it's different for different people. And it is your perspective which will change your reality. So that was lovely. Thank you, Meeta.